Page 98D, the Carter-Page FISA applications. On April 1, 2016, Perkins Coie, a law firm acting as counsel to the Clinton campaign, Hillary for America, retained Fusion GPS, a Washington, D.C.-based investigative firm, to conduct opposition research on Trump and his associates. Shortly thereafter, Fusion GPS hired Christopher Steele and his UK-based firm, Orbis Business Intelligence, to investigate Trump's ties to Russia. At the time, Steele, who again has stated that he was formerly an intelligence professional for the British government, was an FBI CHS. Beginning in July 2016 and continuing through December 2016, Steele and Fusion GPS prepared a series of reports containing derogatory information about purported ties between Trump and Russia. According to the reports, important connections between Trump and Russia ran through campaign manager Paul Manafort and foreign policy advisor Carter Page. Steele provided the reports to the Department, the FBI, the State Department, members of Congress, and multiple media outlets. Steele styled the reports Company Intelligence Reports, and each report contained an identifying number. Company Intelligence Report 2016-095, for example. Collectively, these reports came to be known colloquially as the Steele dossier, and we refer to them in this report as the Steele dossier, or Steele reports. Page 99. The report played an important role in applications submitted to the FISC targeting Page, a U.S. person. The FBI relied substantially on the reports to assert probable cause that Page was knowingly engaged in clandestine intelligence activities on behalf of Russia, or knowingly helping another person in such activities. As discussed in more detail below, the FBI was not able to corroborate a single substantive allegation contained in the Steele reports, despite protracted efforts to do so. The Steele reports themselves, however, were not the only issue that we considered in connection with the Page FISA applications. This section begins by discussing probable cause and the Page FISA applications. It then focuses on the Steele reports and the subsources that Steele allegedly used. The FBI relationship with Steele and its handling of the Steele reports subsection VD1B. The prior counter-espionage investigation of Igor Danchenko, Steele's primary subsource for his reporting. Danchenko's relationship with Charles Dolan, one of Danchenko's subsources. The FBI's failure to investigate Dolan's possible role as a subsource for Danchenko. Danchenko's purported contact with Sergei Milian, another subsource that Danchenko claimed to have received information from something. This section then turns to other aspects of the Page FISA applications. Information about Page's role as a source of another U.S. government agency, meetings between FBI CHSs and Papadopoulos, Page, and senior Trump campaign official, other shortcomings in the Page FISA applications. This section concludes with a discussion of the factors that the office considered in its prosecution and declination decisions related to the Page FISA applications. A few additional aspects of the FISA applications are discussed in the classified appendix. 1. Factual background. A. Probable cause and the Page FISA applications. Omissions of material fact, the FISC has stated, were the most prevalent and among the most serious problems with the Page applications. The OIG, for its part, found in its review of the applications targeting Page at least 17 significant errors or omissions, and so many basic and fundamental errors. These were made by 3 separate hand-picked teams on one of the most sensitive FBI investigations that was briefed to the highest levels within the FBI. Page 100. The OIG review also found that FBI personnel did not give appropriate attention to facts that cut against probable cause. Also of concern, and the focus of this section, is that several Crossfire Hurricane investigators were skeptical of the information used in the Page FISA applications, and particularly, as time went on, believed that Page was not acting as an agent of Russia and was not a threat to national security. Nevertheless, despite the surveillance's lack of productivity, FBI management directed the Crossfire Hurricane investigators to renew the Page surveillance 3 times. 1. The lead-up to the initial Page FISA application. As has been noted by several individuals, including Deputy Director McCabe, the FISA on Page would not have been authorized without the Steele reporting. Indeed, prior to the receipt of the Steele reports, the FBI had drafted a FISA application on Page that FBI OGC determined lacked sufficient probable cause. Within 2 days of their eventual receipt by Crossfire Hurricane investigators, however, information from 4 of the Steele reports was being used to buttress the probable cause in the initial draft FISA application targeting Page. Yet, even prior to the initial application, the Page case agent 1, recognized that the FBI's reliance on the uncorroborated and unvetted Steele reports could be problematic. Indeed, on September 27, 2016, Case Agent 1 exchanged the following FBI link messages with another employee assisting with Crossfire Hurricane, supporting Operation Specialist 1. Page 101. Support Operations Specialist 1. Hopefully Steele can get more detailed info, though. Case Agent 1. Yeah, exactly. Dates, times, etc. would be key. Support Operations Specialist 1. Yeah, it just goes down to how confident we are in that reporting. Support Operations Specialist 1. There aren't a whole lot of details in it. Case Agent 1. Haha, true. Support Operations Specialist 1. Which is just what worries me a bit. Hopefully the sources, sub-sources, are legit. They seem legit based on past reporting. Case Agent 1. Yeah, no kidding. What was strange was that British intelligence services don't seem to want to deal with the guy. Support Operations Specialist 1. But there aren't many specifics in this reporting that couldn't be expanded on from open source. Case Agent 1. Not sure why. Support Specialist Operations Specialist 1. Yeah, that's weird too. If he has the subsource network that he claims to have and the reporting suggests, you would think they'd be interested in him. Though maybe these are newly developed since he went to British intelligence services. Case Agent 1. Yeah, that's the weird thing. Handling Agent 1 said it was the OC angle and that they're not too interested, but that still seems odd. Case Agent 1. Who knows? We may have to take a calculated risk with the reporting if we're pressed for time. Page 102. This exchange between Case Agent 1 and Support Operations Specialist 1 underscores the fact that Case Agent 1, the principal contributor of the factual information contained in the request for the initial page FISA application, had clearly recognized issues with using the Steele report information due to the uncorroborated nature of the allegations and the lack of insight into the reliability of Steele's subsources. Indeed, an experienced counterintelligence agent like Case Agent 1 was no doubt aware of the need to evaluate the credibility and reliability of human source information. The OI attorney who was responsible for preparing the initial FISA application, OI Attorney 1, recalled being constantly pressured to advance the FISA and FBI executive management being invoked as the reason for the pressure. OI Attorney 1 advised the office that FBI OGC attorney Kevin Kleinsmith informed him that the director, Comey, wanted to know what's going on and that Deputy Director McCabe asked who the FBI needed to speak with at the DOJ to get this going. McCabe confirmed this basic push by the FBI and Comey when he was interviewed by the OIG investigators. McCabe told the interviewers that there was a lot of back and forth between the Crossfire Hurricane investigators and OI regarding when are we going to get it? When are we going to get it? And that Comey repeatedly asked him, where's the FISA? Where's the FISA? And what's the status of with the page FISA? McCabe noted that the FISA was something McCabe definitely knew Comey wanted. This recollection also is consistent with email traffic and other FBI records in which the inclination on the part of the department personnel to move cautiously and FBI executives to move quickly are made clear. For example, on October 12, 2016, a meeting took place involving AD, Prestat, DAD Stroke, FBI OGC Unit Chief 1, and the Deputy Director Special Assistant, Lisa Page. Page's notes from that meeting reflect the Deputy Assistant Attorney General Evans had spoken with Stroke the night before and raised concerns about the proposed FISA. Page's notes show the following. Lots of cues, RE sources, motivation, reliability, bias, hired to do research, tasks, network of subsources. Don't know who his subsource is, who their subsources are. FISA, bad idea from policy perspective. Email out and it's unintelligible, hacked email to Steele talking to the FBI. FBI OGC Unit Chief 1's notes from the same meeting reflect that Evans was concerned that Steele may have been hired by the Clinton campaign or the DNC. That same day at 7:13 p.m., FBI OGC Unit Chief 1 emailed OGC's attorney, Tricia Anderson, and Kleinsmith to advise him that, quote, we raised Stu's concerns to the director and the deputy director at 1:30, and they are supportive if moving forward despite his concerns. I just talked to Lisa, and she had reached out to Stu and will inform the deputy director we're close to losing our operational window. Page 103. Over the next few days, the department and FBI personnel continued to exchange information on questions and needed clarifications in the draft application. On October 18th, Stroke emailed FBI OGC Unit Chief 1 and Kleinsmith and asked how significant were Baker's changes back when he reviewed. If the DAG and we, investigative team, are good with the current draft, we need to ram this through. Thanks. I hate these cases. FBI OGC Unit Chief 1 responded shortly after. Just talked to Lisa. Baker had a bunch of comments, but they were not directed to issue stews. Now made a big deal about it. I think if the investigative team is good with the facts and the DAG is good with the PC, then Andy McCabe should push regardless of Baker's comments. The FISC approved the surveillance 3 days later, October 21st. New York Field Office Cage Agent 1, the counterintelligence agent who led the New York Field Office investigation, Page, was never contacted by the Crossfire Hurricane investigators prior to the submission of the initial Page FISA application. When interviewed by the office, New York Field Office Case Agent 1 noted that the New York Field Office viewed Page as someone we needed to watch due to the Russians contacting Page, but she and others were never overly concerned about Page being an intelligence officer for the Russians. At no time during the course of her investigation did New York Field Office Case Agent 1 consider pursuing FISA on Page. New York Field Office Case Agent 1 later read that Page FISA applications and recalled seeing some aspect of her investigation referenced. New York Field Office Case Agent 1 felt the language used to link Page to the Russians was a little strong. Nevertheless, New York Field Office Case Agent 1 assumed the Crossfire Hurricane investigation had uncovered additional information linking Page to the Russians. In fact, the additional information contained in the initial Page FISA application was largely taken from the Steele reports and carefully selected portions of the consensual recordings with an FBI CHS as described below. In retrospect, New York Field Office Case Agent 1 viewed the Page investigations as a waste of money. Page 104. 2. The Page FISA applications renewals. In late January 2017, Supervisory Special Agent 1 transferred back to Washington Field Office. Supervisory Special Agent 1 was replaced in that position by an experienced counterintelligence agent assigned to Washington Field Office, Supervisory Special Agent 3. In his interview with the office, Supervisory Special Agent 3 stated that upon arriving at FBI headquarters, DAD Jennifer Boone informed him that his primary task was to renew the Page FISA application. Despite this tasking, Supervisory Special Agent 3 stated that his investigators did not feel connected to the Page investigation and were excluded from the flow of information and decision-making process, an investigation that, according to Supervisory Special Agent 3, was still managed by the triumvirate of control, in quotes, of the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, namely Strope, Otten, and Section Chief Moffa. For example, during the course of their time on Crossfire Hurricane, neither Supervisory Special Agent 3 nor Special Agent 1, an investigator working for Supervisory Special Agent 3, knew that Page had previously served as a source for another government agency. When Special Agent 1 eventually learned this information, he stated that he felt like a fool. Special Agent 1 also recalled that Supervisory Special Agent 3 would often rhetorically ask his investigators, "What are we even doing here?" Moreover, based on their review of the case file and the lack of evidence obtained from the FISA surveillance, neither Supervisory Special Agent 3 nor his investigators believed that Page was a threat to national security or a witting agent of the Russian government. Special Agent 1 and another agent working for Supervisory Special Agent 3, Supervisory Special Agent 2, shared Supervisory Special Agent 3's conclusion that Page was not a witting agent of the Russian government. Special Agent 1 went as far as to say that the surveillance on Page was a dry hole. Nonetheless, Special Agent 1 assumed that somebody above them possessed important information unknown to the investigators that guided the Crossfire Hurricane decision-making. Page 105. When Supervisory Special Agent 3 informed DAD Boone of his team's assessment, he was largely ignored and directed to continue the FISA renewal process. It was Supervisory Special Agent 3's opinion that Boone was being directed by FBI executive management to continue the FISA surveillance. When interviewed by the office, Boone did not recall Supervisory Special Agent 3 voicing concerns about the Page FISA and stated that, if he had, she would have elevated those concerns to AD Prestat. Boone did state, however, that it was not normal course of business to have the 7th floor, which is the FBI executive management, intimately involved in an investigation and very unusual to have an investigation run from FBI headquarters. Boone did not know why the 7th floor was so involved in this case, nor did she know who from the 7th floor was the ultimate decision-maker regarding Crossfire Hurricane. Boone did not have any direct communication with Deputy Director McCabe, but she understood that McCabe was heavily involved in all aspects of the investigation. Her sense was that Prestat was not in charge and had to get approval from the 7th floor. On a few occasions, Boone ran ideas by Priestap and never heard back from him. Boone recalled occasions when Crossfire Hurricane Priestap would direct field offices to open cases on particular targets associated with the Trump campaign, and the field offices would push back due to insufficient predication. During one meeting, Boone and her investigators presented a Russia strategy to Priestap. Boone could sense that Priestap was visibly upset by their strategy and walked out of the meeting. Supervisory Special Agent 2 signed all 3 renewals of the Page FISA application. When interviewed by the office, Supervisory Special Agent 2 stated that after the initial FISA surveillance of Page, the investigators had low confidence that Page was a witting agent of the Russian government. In fact, at the time of the 3rd renewal, Supervisory Special Agent 2 stated that the probability of Page being a witting agent was very low. Nevertheless, Supervisory Special Agent 2 signed the final renewal because, in his opinion, it was incumbent on the FBI to exhaust all resources to ensure that Page was not a Russian intelligence officer. Page 106. In essence, it appears that Supervisory Special Agent 2 saw the final renewal of the Page FISA as a belt and suspenders approach to confirm that Page was not a Russian agent. For his part, Supervisory Special Agent 1 told us that he would not have signed the renewal affidavits if he had been the agent responsible for certifying the accuracy of the government's assertions. The approach taken by Supervisory Special Agent 2, an experienced agent, is concerning. A U.S. person is an agent of a foreign power if there is probable cause to believe that the person is knowingly engaged in clandestine intelligence activities on behalf of a foreign power or knowingly helping another person in such activities. That is an affirmation determination. FISA surveillance must be used for the purpose and in the ways specified in the statute rather than to prove that someone is not an agent of a foreign power. 3. What the FBI knew from its intelligence collections as of early 2017. As the record reflects, as of early 2017, the FBI did not possess any intelligence showing that anyone associated with the Trump campaign was in contact with Russian intelligence officers during the campaign. Indeed, based on declassified documents from early 2017, the FBI's own records show that reports published by the New York Times in February and March 2017 concerning what 4 unnamed current and former U.S. intelligence officials claimed about Trump campaign personnel being in touch with any Russian intelligence officers was untrue. These unidentified sources reportedly stated that 1. U.S. law enforcement and intelligence agencies intercepted communications from members of Trump's campaign and other Trump associates that showed repeated contacts with senior Russian intelligence officials in the year before the election. 2. Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort had been one of the individuals picked up on the intercepted calls. And 3. The intercepted communications between Trump associates and Russians had been initially captured by the NSA. However, official FBI documentation reflects that all 3 of these highly concerning claims of Trump-related contacts with Russian intelligence were untrue. Indeed, in a contemporaneous critique of the Times article prepared by Peter Strzok, who was steeped in the details of Crossfire Hurricane, all 3 of the above-referenced allegations were explicitly refuted. Strzok's evaluation of the allegations included the following. The FBI had not seen any evidence of any individuals affiliated with the Trump team in contact with Russian intelligence officers. He characterized this allegation as misleading and inaccurate as written. He noted that there had been some individuals in contact with Russians, both governmental and non-governmental, but none of these individuals had an affiliation with Russian intelligence. Page 107. He also noted previous contact between Carter Page and the Russian intelligence officer, but this contact did not occur during Page's association with the Trump campaign. The FBI had no information in its holdings, nor had it received any such information from other members of the intelligence community that Paul Manafort had been a party to call with any Russian government official. Strzok noted that the intelligence community had not provided the FBI with any such information, even though the FBI had advertised certain agencies of its interest in anything they might hold or collect regarding Manafort. Regarding the allegations that the NSA initially captured these communications between Trump campaign officials and Trump associates and the Russians, Strzok repeated that if such communications had been collected by the NSA, the FBI was not aware of the fact. In the second article published by the Times on March 1, 2017, bearing the headline, Obama Administration Rushed to Preserve Intelligence of Russian Election Hacking, allegations were made that U.S. allies, including 2 named countries, had provided information describing meetings in European cities between Russian officials and other Russians close to Russian President Putin and associates of Trump. The article also repeated the assertions set forth in its February 14, 2017 article. Again, a review of the official FBI documentation shows that Stroke had reviewed and refuted these additional allegations in the second critique. With respect to the March 1, 2017 allegations, Stroke noted that no such information had been received from one of the named countries, and that the only information received from the second named country, which was received in response to a specific request from the FBI, related to a woman of Russian descent, purportedly having been in contact with former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. In this second critique, Stroke further noted that with respect to the information provided to the Times by the 4 unnamed former and current officials, the FBI, approximately 3 weeks after it was first opened, continued to be unaware of any information other than that provided by Christopher Steele in the dossier reports, alleging contacts between Trump associates and senior Russian intelligence officials. Thus, the FBI had no intelligence about Trump or other associated with the Trump campaign being in contact with Russian intelligence officers during the campaign, at least as of early 2017. Moreover, significant intelligence information that first became available for the FBI to review in 2018 showed that the Russians had access to sensitive U.S. government information years earlier that would have allowed them to identify Steele's subsources. Indeed, an experienced FBI analyst assessed that as a result of their access to the information, Steele's subsources could have been compromised by the Russians at this point in time prior to the date of the first Steele dossier report. Page 108. The review team initially briefed counterintelligence and cyber executive management about their findings during a conference call. Following the call, while driving home, Headquarters Analyst 1 was called by Acting Section Chief 2. Acting Section Chief 2 told Headquarters Analyst 3 that they appreciated the team's work, but no more memorandums were to be written. A meeting was then held with Assistant Director Priestap and others. During the meeting, the review team was told to be careful about what they were writing down because issues relating to Steele were under intense scrutiny. 2 weeks later, the Deputy Assistant Director for Counterintelligence, Dinah Corsi, met with the review team and directed them not to document any recommendations, context, or analysis in the memorandum they were preparing. The instructions, which Headquarters Analyst 3 described as highly unusual, concerned the team because analysis is what analysts do. Although the team did not fully adhere to that instruction because of the need to provide context to the team's findings, they did tone down their conclusion in the final memorandum. Headquarters Analyst 3 recalled that a separate briefing on the review was eventually provided by the team in the Deputy Director's conference room. Although Headquarters Analyst 3 could not recall if Deputy Director David Bowditch attended the briefing, Headquarters Analyst 3 did know that Bowditch was aware of the review itself. In this same regard, for a period of time, an FBI OGC Attorney 1, was part of the review team and was present for the meeting with Corsi. He confirmed that the team was told not to write any more memoranda or analytical pieces and provide their findings orally. The OGC Attorney 1 remembered being shocked by the directive from Corsi. OGC Attorney 1's recollection was that Corsi was speaking for FBI leadership, but that she did not say exactly who provided the directive. OGC Attorney 1 advised the office that what Corsi said was not right in any circumstance, and it was most inappropriate operational or professional statement he has ever heard at the FBI. The OGC Attorney 1 stated that the directive from Corsi was really, really shocking to him and that he was appalled by it. As a result of the incident, he ended up walking away from further participating in the review. Page 109. OGC Attorney 1 said he felt guilty about leaving, but he felt he had to do it. The record thus reflects that at the time the FBI opened Crossfire Hurricane on July 31, 2016, as noted above in the SSCI report, the Russians already knew about Steele's election investigation. And there is reason to believe that even earlier in time they had access to other highly sensitive information for which the identities of Steele's sources could have been compromised. Finally, in May 2017, about a month before the submission of the last page FISA renewal application, Stroke was debating whether to join Special Counsel Mueller's investigation. He texted that he was hesitating about joining, in part because of my gut sense and concern that there's no big there. Although the there does not appear to have been explicitly identified, it may well have been a reference to the Russia-Trump collusion investigation. In any event, and more generally, the OIG found that as the investigation progressed and more information tended to undermine or weaken the assertions of the FISA applications, the FBI did not reassess the information supporting probable cause. B. The Steele dossier. 1. Christopher Steele, FBI Confidential Human Source, or CHS. Beginning in 2010, Christopher Steele started providing information to the FBI on a range of subjects, including but not limited to Russian oligarchs and corruption in international soccer competition. Steele had been introduced to his eventual FBI CHS handler, Handling Agent 1, by former DOJ official Bruce Orr. In 2013, the FBI formally opened Steele as an FBI CHS, and Handling Agent 1 would serve as Steele's primary handler over the course of his services as an FBI source. Steele would eventually be closed as an FBI source in November 2016 for disclosing his status as a CHS while providing information to the media regarding his work for Fusion GPS on behalf of the Clinton campaign and the DNC against Trump. Page 110. Nevertheless, the FBI, using department official Bruce Orr as a conduit, continued to receive information from Steele despite his closure as a CHS. 2. The FBI first received the Steele reports in July 2016. In July 2016, Handling Agent 1 was serving as the FBI's Assistant Legal Attaché, ALAT, in Rome, Italy. And in earlier July 2016, Steele contacted Handling Agent 1 and requested an urgent meeting at Steele's office in London. On July 5, 2016, Handling Agent 1 met with Steele in London, and Steele provided him with Report 2016-080, dated June 20, 2016. This report detailed, among other things, salacious information about Donald Trump's alleged sexual activities during trips to Moscow and details of how the Kremlin purportedly had been feeding information to Trump's campaign regarding his political rivals. Steele informed Handling Agent 1 that he, Steele, had been hired by Fusion GPS to collect information on Trump, including Trump's relationship with the Kremlin and various business dealings with Russia. Steele told Handling Agent 1 that Fusion GPS had been hired by a law firm and that his ultimate client was senior Democrats supporting Clinton. Handling Agent 1's notes of the meeting reflect that HC was aware of Steele's reporting. During an interview with the office, Handling Agent 1 was shown a copy of his notes from the July 5, 2016 meeting. As previously noted, while Handling Agent 1 did not have an independent recollection of Steele's explicitly stating that HC referred to Hillary Clinton, he could think of no other individual in that context to whom HC could possibly refer. Steele claimed that prior to his July 5, 2016 meeting with Handling Agent 1, he and Chris Burrows, his principal at Orbis, had decided that the information collected by Steele had significant national security implications and therefore should be provided to the FBI, and Fusion GPS principal Glenn Simpson agreed. Page 111. At the July 5, 2016 meeting, Steele informed Handling Agent 1 that he was working on additional reports at Fusion GPS. As discussed in detail below, the following this meeting, Handling Agent 1 contacted New York Field Office ASAC 1 at the New York Field Office for guidance about the information Steele had provided. In his interview with the office, Handling Agent 1 stated his initial reaction to Steele's report was disbelief. Handling Agent 1 knew that Steele possessed strong feelings against the Russians and their threat to the world, and Steele felt that the possibility of a Trump-compromised presidency would pose a global problem. Furthermore, Steele explained to Handling Agent 1 that the information was gathered at the request of Simpson, who was working with an unidentified law firm in the United States for the purpose of acquiring information on Trump and his activities with Russia. In his HPSCI testimony, Handling Agent 1 told the committee that he assumed Steele's tasking was politically motivated. Notwithstanding his skepticism about the reporting, Handling Agent 1 deemed the allegations to be something he could not arbitrarily discount, particularly since Steele was his CHS and someone in whom he had faith. On July 19, 2016, Steele sent Handling Agent 1 an additional report, 2016-94, detailing, among other things, an alleged meeting that Trump campaign foreign policy advisor Carter Page had in July 2016 with Igor Sechin, chairman of the Russian energy conglomerate Rosneft, and another meeting with Igor Devyekin, a senior official in the Russian presidential administration. This report alleged details of Page's conversations with Sechin regarding the lifting of U.S. sanctions and Page's conversations with Devyekin about Russia being in possession of compromising information on both parties, Trump and Clinton. On July 28, 2016, Handling Agent 1 forwarded Steele's reports 2016-080 and 2016-94 to New York Field Office ASAC-1. These reports, including 4 additional reports subsequently received by Handling Agent 1 from Steele, only reached the Crossfire Hurricane investigators at FBI headquarters on September 19, 2016.